So in my previous video, I discussed a situation where a person would want to request body camera footage. So let me quickly reiterate what that scenario was so that you're up to speed. So let's say you're in a situation where you get pulled over by the police, you know you don't have any warrants, and you know that you didn't commit any traffic violations. And when the officer approaches your vehicle once you are pulled over, they ask you for your license and your registration. You ask the officer why you're being pulled over, and they do not answer you. Instead, they reiterate their request for your license and your registration. Now, you ask one more time before you obtain your license and your registration to give to the officer. But at this point, the officer is frustrated with you, and so they ask you to step out of your vehicle. Now, at this point, you intend to comply because you see that the situation is getting aggressive, and you reach into your pocket. You intend to pull out your license from your pocket, but instead, the officer draws their gun in your face and tells you to drop your weapon. Obviously, the officer is mistaken that you have a weapon, but nonetheless, the situation moves so quickly, and the police officer reaches into your window, opens your car door, and forcefully pulls you down to the ground. Now, at the point that you are on the ground, you are in significant pain, and you later find out that the officers broke your arm as you were taken to the ground. So now you're being charged with resisting arrest, and you're thinking about filing a civil lawsuit against the local police department. In this situation, you know that the police officers were wearing body cameras, and so what you want to do is request that body camera footage. So the question is, how do you request body camera footage when you are dealing with a civil case? So I am criminal defense attorney Hannah Akintoye, and as I've mentioned before, this is a situation that you have likely seen either in the news or I'm sure, unfortunately, that you have heard somebody experience a situation such as this. In my previous video, I mentioned that there are usually 3 scenarios where a person would want to request body camera footage. The first is if you are facing a criminal case. The second is if you are involved in a civil case. And the third is if you are simply just a private citizen or there's no pending court case associated with your request for body camera footage. So today I am going to focus on how to request body camera footage in a civil case. So if you have a pending court case, meaning that there is some type of case number associated with a filing in court of a lawsuit, then as part of that case, you can request certain information or evidence from the opposing party that you believe will help you in your particular case. So if you're trying to request body camera footage in a civil case, there are usually going to be a few ways that you can do that. Now, the good news here is that you have a pending court case, and so there are different ways that you can request body camera footage in a civil case. So for one, you can simply submit a subpoena to the police department asking them to provide you with the body camera footage that is associated with your case or what you're trying to file in court. Now, usually in a subpoena, you are going to want to reference the date of the incident, the time, the location, and any other information that would be helpful to locate what you are requesting. Now, oftentimes, in the scenario that I mentioned, there would likely be a police report associated with that particular body camera footage, right, or with that particular police interaction. And so if there are any numbers or complaint numbers, police report numbers, whatever it is in your jurisdiction, in your state, that could reference that particular incident, you're going to also want to put that in there. If you know the name of the officers that are associated with that particular body camera that you are seeking, you want to put all of that information in the subpoena to ensure that you don't miss anything, because a person or an entity will only provide you with what you ask for. They also need some type of specificity with respect to what you're requesting in the first place. So Number one, subpoenaing the documentation may be a simple and easy way to go if you have a pending civil case. Now, alternatively, let's say you serve the police department with a subpoena and they don't comply. In that situation, what you may have to do is go back to the judge or back to the court and ask for a court order. If we're talking about hierarchy here, a court order is basically at the top of any type of request that you can make. If a party or an entity or a business or a police department refuses to obey a court order, they're looking at a big problem. And so if a court order is issued and you provide the police department with a court order and they don't comply, in that particular situation, you can ask the judge to hold them in contempt of court. And so depending on what state or jurisdiction that you're in, contempt of court can mean fines, and it could also even mean jail time, depending on what the judge orders. So oftentimes, a lot of these court orders could be litigated in court, but you have to make the request first before you can ask the judge to enforce that court order or that request if the police department or whoever you're issuing it against does not comply. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, there are other ways that you can request body camera footage. For instance, if you are a private citizen or if you intend to file a civil case and you are still doing your investigation and you have not yet filed in court, you may want a copy of the body camera footage with anticipation of filing a civil case. And so in that situation, what will apply is what the rules are or what the law is regarding a private citizen or a member of the public in your state, your jurisdiction, to request body camera footage. So that is what I'm going to talk about in my next video. So I hope this information is helpful to you. If you have any questions, you can simply message me here or on my website, mydclaw.com, and I am always happy to answer your questions further. I hope you guys stay safe, and I'll talk to you soon.